All right, everybody, welcome back. Thank you for watching. Today we have some major redneck science for you guys. So a few days ago, I uploaded a video shooting a flare gun, very similar to this, just a basic Walmart flare gun. Super fun video. If you haven't seen the video, definitely go check it out. But one thing that I noticed when I was doing that video is that these flares are actually 12 gauge flares. So naturally, in that video, I decided to try one of these flares in a 12 gauge shotgun, and sure enough, it worked. Wow. So of course, after that video was uploaded, I heard from several of you guys in the comments, and we were thinking the exact same thing the whole time we were filming that video. We know that these flares will work in a 12 gauge shotgun, but will 12 gauge shotgun ammo work in that flare gun? So just imagine a world where all the guns are magically gone, even your grandpa's 12 gauge shotgun is no longer available, and all you can get is a Walmart flare gun. Would it fire 12 gauge shotgun shells? Let's find out. All right, so I am gonna hold this flare gun in my bare hands for this experiment, and I think I should probably be okay. Just kidding. So here's our contraption that we made. We have a big piece of wood that we screwed into the railroad tie, and we actually have a washer on there and left it loose enough so that this thing can move a little bit to compensate for the recoil. Then we have our flare gun screwed into that piece of wood with a metal hook, a string running through the trigger guard, and that gives us enough room to cock the hammer, open the barrel, and do all that stuff that we need to do. So even though we have that screw loose enough for that wood to move, I still think obviously that this thing is going to grenade itself and blow into 100 pieces. But I'm hoping, just hoping, that we can get at least 2 or 3 shots out of this thing before it completely blows up. So let's see. So these flare guns are actually designed with a small taper in the barrel to prevent exactly what we're doing, I'm sure, but you can't fit a 12 gauge shotgun shell in the barrel of a flare gun. So we just took a little Dremel to it and sanded off a little bit of that taper. And if I apply some pressure on here, you can see it goes right in there. Problem solved. So we're just gonna start with some 12 gauge birdshot, since this is the least powerful shotgun ammo that I have. I considered using mini shells because they're even less powerful, but I think even with a mini shell, it's probably gonna explode it, and I wanna at least get a full power 12 gauge shotgun shell. So let's go ahead, close our barrel, and set up our watermelon. Cock the hammer, and it's go time. So I gotta try to pull this string without rotating our piece of wood. Let's see. So I saw the shell eject, and now it's raining pieces of our flare gun. Well, I think it blew it up. All right, so here's our shotgun shell laying on the ground about 10 yards away from our flare gun, and that's very interesting. So you can see it basically exploded the shotgun shell and blew all those pellets out of the side, and nothing except maybe a piece of the wad came out of the end. So obviously the plastic barrel wasn't enough to contain that explosion. And then if you turn around, you can see back here is a piece of our flare gun. So let's go check it out and see what the damage is. All right, so that's interesting. So it blew the top of the barrel completely off, did not open it. It looks like our recoil system didn't really work because the wood didn't move at all. It did slide the gun back into that metal hook a little bit. And then on the cinder block here, you can see it looks like we have maybe a piece of that wad. So that's about the only thing that came out of the end of that shotgun shell. And then here on the ground is our watermelon, and that is the only damage that we have. There's a couple BBs in there. Hopefully you guys can see that. But it did put a couple of those BBs in that watermelon, but the majority of it definitely shotgunned out of the top. So interesting result, but I can't say I'm surprised. It just looks like that flare gun, being plastic, obviously wasn't strong enough to contain this explosion. And you can see that our shotgun shell just split in half, and I assume it launched all those pellets up into the air. Whereas a real shotgun is obviously made out of steel, and the chamber is made to withstand that explosion and send the pellets down the barrel. That's not the result that we got with the flare gun. So there you have it. Unfortunately, you cannot fire a 12 gauge shotgun shell out of a flare gun. At least you can't out of this flare gun. But now we have a watermelon that survived, so let's take it out the right way. I think I like the shotgun better.